I would like to acknowledge all Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander peoples, past, present and emerging, as I am recording on Wurundjeri country. Thank you for joining us.
Marmalade and coffee black. Lesson plans are on the stack. Ready for the students' track. Gonna find our groove.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stranger in the Staff Room, where myself, Zoe Zammit, or Miss Zammit as the kiddos call me, I am a first-time teacher sharing lifelong stories, and thank you for joining again. I am assuming that this episode is going to come out a little bit later than the consistent sort of schedule that I have. It was honestly accidentally scheduled, this podcast, because I was like, I'll just go with the flow, whatever. There's one thing you're going to know about me. I do not go with the flow. Not all the time anyway. Not most of the time anyway. So it's actually accidentally been every fortnight I've been putting out an episode. So I feel like this is going to come out at the 3-week mark. And that is because, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, I am human, much to my disgust. And I have been sick. Yep, so colds have been going around my sort of circle, and because I have just finished, the heavy 7 days a week of working that, I've been keeping you guys updated on, I was more susceptible to getting sick, and I was like, nah, honestly, I think I've got it this time. Like, I think I'm good. And then I woke up and I was like, I feel like death. So yeah, I'm only just starting to get over it now. So yeah, I thought I'd hop back on the train, hop back on the bandwagon. What we're going to talk about today is I've got some more funny students say, but this time I've got some community inputs. So I will be reading out 2 submissions from you guys, which I'm so excited about because I've seen that I have responses, but I've intentionally not read them, just so then I can give an authentic reaction when I read them out on the podcast. So I'm so excited for that. I am going to chat about a connection that I've made whilst creating this podcast and the Instagram page that's associated with it. So Stranger in the Staff Room on Instagram. So I'm going to share one of them. Her name is Carla. And then I'm just going to be blabbing about what my life has involved after placement. So yeah, stick around.
Through the highs and through the lows, we're the ones who always show. Building worlds and making glow the dreams that they pursue.
Alright everyone, welcome back. I am recording the visuals to this part, so surprise, you see my makeshift studio if you are watching this podcast on YouTube. So Stranger in the Staff Room once again, and you should find me and you should subscribe. That is my professional advice to you for this podcast. Anyway, we are going to do one of my favourite segments, Funny Students Say. So without further ado, let's get into it. Our first funny moment is from Chelsea. Chelsea says, I was working with kids a couple of years ago, and he decided instead of Miss Van, guessing that's her last name, Miss Van, that he would call me Sensei Van. I wore a blazer one day to work. The student goes, look how rich my sensei looks. She looks rich on her head. I think I was wearing a crystal hair clip. Are you having an interview? I think I did have some sort of review of my performance or something, so he was spot on. I think students were not listening one day to me, and he speaks and goes, don't make my sensei angry. Oh my god, I'm guessing that this is primary because they just absolutely worship their teachers. Don't make my sensei angry. Jesus. Were you teaching them Japanese? Why sensei? Anyway. Okay, so the next one comes from Neve. I was this close to saying Nimaha because of how it's spelled. But I know it's Neve. So Neve says, when I was working as an LSO, so a learning support officer, I was working in a class with 3 Year 9s, who were typical Year 9 boys. I can't remember the exact context, but one of them was being a little turd, and because I was sitting right next to him, I told him off and to cut it out. I didn't have much practice with keeping a straight face, and he knew this. Once I told him off, he started to make funny faces at me because he wanted to break my stern face. Lo and behold, about 1 minute into this stare-off, I got to the point that I cracked and turned my back to smile because he was kind of funny. Since then, he knew if I was telling him off, he could make me laugh, and I was really annoyed at myself. Oh my god, this is the worst for me. I have the humour of a 15-year-old boy. I do. Like, literally, someone could just yell out penis and I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. So now onto my own. Thank you so much, Neve and Chelsea, for putting in your submissions. And yeah, let's keep going. So my ones. This one was really good. So this is from my last placement. Basically, my mentor teacher, like these were year 12, so they were coming up to muck-up day. And so they wanted to pull pranks on my mentor teacher. And she's like, no, you're not going to do that. You're not going to do that. You're not going to do this. You're not going to do that. So this one student tried to convince my mentor teacher about doing something using like psychology terms. But she was getting all of them wrong. And that's kind of scary when you're like a month into about to do your exams. So this other kid, he was just like unintentionally funny. Anyway, he just goes, see miss, this is why you shouldn't represent yourself in court. So again, on my last placement, they have a cafe on site for a vet subject, vet hospitality. So every now and again, the kids will do, that are doing vet hospitality, will do free coffees, and like the announcement goes out to the teachers. So one of my students was like, oh, I'll go grab your coffee for you. I was like, all right, no worries. He comes back. He's like, all right, miss, I got you a coffee. Can you use my Temu link? What? I said, no, I'm not going to use your Temu link. He's like, why? It was 10% off. No! So that was funny students say. If you've got a funny story, a horror story, or a heartwarming story, feel free to put it in the Google form. I will put the link to my link tree. So like basically any way that you can be a part of the Stranger in the Staff Room community is through this link. I will put that in the show notes. Yeah, and then just go onto the Lifelong Stories forum and you can pop yours in there. You can say whether you want to be anonymous or not. But yeah, I would love to hear from all of you. Alrighty everyone, we're going to take a quick break. So make sure to get your teas, your coffees, your sweet treats, whatever you do to relax. And yeah, we will be back soon.
Marmalade and coffee black. Lesson plans are on the stack. Ready for the students' track.
Like I said at the start of the episode, I would like to give a huge shout out to Carla, who runs Teach Assist Australia. So her Instagram is Teach Assist Australia, and what she does is she helps people going into the teaching industry or looking to change schools or even different positions in the education industry. She helps them with their resumes. Now, as you all know, I got a full-time gig for next year, full-time job at the school of my dreams. But a little story from the interview. I had to redo my resume because I've been at the casual job that I'm at for about 2 years now. So it's out of date. So I was refilling it, putting in new referees, things like that. The interview went well, and he pulled out, he meaning the principal, pulled out my resume, and he's like, oh, like, are you okay with me contacting referees? And I'm like, yeah, of course, they're all on there. And he's like, oh, no, they're not. It was something simple. Like, I didn't print front to back on this resume. And, you know, I was already overthinking, was this like the right set out, because I've only ever applied for casual jobs? Like, do they want something more, etc., etc. If I knew about Carla and Teach Assist Australia, I wouldn't have gone into this interview with that much stress. Carla is an absolute sweetheart. Yeah, I'm obsessed with her, and she posts a lot about different sort of tips and tricks for resumes, but she also does workshops. So yeah, you either DM Teach Assist Australia or call her on her mobile, to organise these workshops and these one-on-one sessions with her. So yeah, head to Teach Assist Australia and use the resource that I had no idea about. And just feel confident going into those interviews when it's time for you to head to the teaching industry.
We're in the air, sharing knowledge everywhere. such care. This is what we
Alrighty, welcome back everyone. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit more refreshed and got the giggles out from the funny students say segment. I'm currently looking at my copy of the Teacher Detox Toolkit, which, if you haven't heard from last episode, is a resource that I've made for teachers to put the self back into self-fulfillment through mindfulness and metacognition. It's basically a mindfulness activity booklet targeted towards teachers, and if you head to Etsy and look up SITSR, you can either get a hard copy or a digital version for yourself. Not biased at all, I highly recommend. But yeah, I've just been flicking through it because there's sections in there to write down funny things that your students say. And I'm just obsessed with having a sort of record of that. Anyway, hopefully you are back refreshed. And yeah, basically I'm just going to blab in your ear for a little bit more before my voice goes, because I can feel it turning husky and sexy and not the Scarlett Johansson way, you know? Yeah, so basically I finished my placement. I am currently working on my final university assessment, potentially ever. I am so excited. Excited, but also relieved, but also my brain does this thing where when it gets so close to the light at the end of the tunnel, it's like, no, I'm going to stop now. And I'm like, what? No, don't do that. What do you mean? What do you mean? No, that's not how it works. So I'm currently trying to battle that, especially because I had so much technical difficulties with my uni about the second last assessment that I've done. Like, I've just finished it. And they're like, but you didn't send in the assessment before. And I'm like, yeah, I did, like 6 weeks ago. So there was technical difficulties there, and it was wild. And so I had to try and back and forth with the uni while on a little bit of a holiday in Queensland. So that was, it's first world problems, but oh God, it was so annoying. So yes, I took a couple of days in Queensland to celebrate my friend's 21st. She knows who she is. Hey girl. And it was so nice to just, get a taste of the relaxation that I'm going to get sort of towards the end of this year before I go into my full-time teaching job. It was so nice. And so it was me and my partner, because I met this girl through my partner and she's amazing. And it was really, really awesome just to have something new to look at and something new to do. So I have got this last assessment. It's a take-home exam for my English unit. I'm feeling okay about it. I'm a very slow reader, and obviously it being English, there's many texts you have to read and analyze. So it is a little bit intimidating in that spot, but it's good because after I record this, I've got the whole day to myself, so I will be working on it for the rest of the day, basically, and then use the night to relax. So that's really cool. Last week of uni this week, ever. That is so scary. I don't really deal well with change, like I said in the last episode, but I'm feeling okay because I'm aware of it this time round. Like, I don't feel as doom and gloom as what I normally would. Doesn't mean I'm not going to, but I'm kind of just grateful that I can sit with it for the time being right now. I will be working in my casual job until I think the week before Christmas, because then obviously we'll have Christmas, which I've worked a couple of Christmases. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Christmas, oh my God, all of the Christmas nuts are going to come and throw bricks in my houses. Houses? Oh my God, I am not that rich. Bricks in my house now, because I've said I'm not a huge fan of Christmas. But yeah, I don't want to work it. I want to spend that time with my family, especially because this year has been so busy for me. And then we go on a family holiday over New Year's, because I wakeboard and water ski and all that sort of stuff. And so we get about 10 days of me, like my family friends and my cousins, and we just go and we do what we love out on the water. So I'm so excited for that. I am going to Thailand before that, myself and my best friend. Just so excited. We have always wanted to travel internationally together, and this would be her first full year of working full time. And obviously I've finished my degree, so we're like, what not a better time than to celebrate us now. So yeah, it's going to be 10 days of sweet all. I can't wait for that. And then there's going to be a little trip to Lakes Entrance with a couple of my uni mates, as well as a bit of a last hurrah. So busy, 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 but that means a lot of content for you guys. So it'll be a bit more vlog style and less teacher focused. Although I'm thinking, because once I've done this final assessment, I need to do the admin side of things for my teaching job next year. So, giving them the proof that I can work, which includes a VIT registration, which is basically you do your course, and then if you actually want to teach, you register yourself as a teacher through VIT, at least in Victoria. I would like to do a little bit of research in terms of other states so then I can create another focus episode, similar to the one on the GTPA. For those of you who are going into your final year, I would highly recommend looking into that episode. But yeah, I want to create a similar focus episode because even though I haven't completed the VIT registration process, there's a bunch of things that I wish I knew going into it already that I'd like to share with you all. So yeah, look out for that one. But until then, it'll just be some fun episodes. I would love to share more community stories. So please keep heading onto the forum. And I think that's it for me, to be honest. If you've got any things that you want me to talk about in these next couple of months, because I'm not necessarily teaching, please let me know in the comments. And yeah, I am beyond looking forward to, getting back on track with the regular schedule. And thank you all for your patience with that. I really appreciate it. So yeah, this is Stranger in the Staff Room, over and out.
Teaching vibes were in the air, sharing knowledge everywhere, guiding young minds with such care. This is what we do.